Good afternoon, everybody. Good day, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time you're watching this. Today, we're going to be taking a very interesting topic, UK issue, and it's UK visa secrets that many Nigerians don't know. We're going to be having a special guest today on the show. She is by the name Barrister Hadiza. I'm very happy to have you on the show. I just wanted to go over the issue of visa student requirements. What is it all about?
Okay, first things first, we need to understand that you need to be sure of what you are required. What you need to do first is to know the kind of visa that you want first.
Okay.
So, if you're going for a student visa, it is different. The costing and the pricing are all different. There's even a new release of a price list that separate all the cost and everything separately. So
Alright.
for a student visa, it is currently £558.
Wow. Okay.
Yes, £558. And then you need your ETA, that's your electronic authorization,
Yeah.
and that costs £16.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. But so people that are like going for like a short stay visit or you're just going to visit a family or a friend abroad, so what is the procedures for that?
Okay, for a short-term visit, okay, you just have to go for a visiting visa. If you're going to go and visit a family, if you're going to go and visit a friend, you just want to stay there for a temporary period, you need a visitor's visa for that. But if you are going to go and study, yes, if you are going to go and study, you need a student visa.
Okay.
Yes, it is processed differently. So you need a student visa for study, you need a visitor's visa for visit.
All right. Thank you very much for clarifying that. There's one question that is all on our minds right now, and that question is, how much does it really cost? Okay, I want to go and study in the UK for this amount of time for this course. How much do I really need to have to pursue that dream?
Okay, it depends.
Okay.
Yeah, for a degree course,
Yeah.
what you need is just one academic year tuition fee.
Mm.
Yeah, so if the university is in UK, it costs around
Okay.
£1,529.
All right.
Yes, that is 2.9 million approximately.
Approximately.
Then £1,171, and that is 2.2 million naira approximately. Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. We also want to know what are the documents that I will need. Okay, if I'm going out, what documents should I have ready? What documents am I gathering?
Okay, there's a lot of documents you need.
Okay.
Yes, there's a lot of documents you need. But before we get to the documents you need, there are some things that you need to know.
Okay.
Now, if you're applying for a student visa, yes, you need to have what we call the CAS, the confirmation of acceptance for studies.
Yeah.
That is the thing that will help you facilitate your student visa. You need to have an admission before you process your student visa, because when you are trying to get your student visa, there is a compulsory place for you to fill in the number contained on your confirmation of acceptance for studies.
Alright.
So you need to have that first.
So you need to have you need to have an admission first.
Yes.
Before you even think
should
of
be offered.
looking for a visa.
Yes, you should be offered an admission from a school in UK before you process your student visa. It is very important.
Okay.
Yes.
So there's something you spoke about. You spoke about the what?
CAS, confirmation of acceptance for studies.
Okay. So that's what you were offered when you are giving admission.
Yes, that's why they call it confirmation of acceptance for studies.
Okay.
They are confirming your acceptance for
Alright.
studies in their school.
Yeah.
So you need to impute the number in your student visa registration process.
Okay.
Yes. So now back to the requirements.
yeah.
Yes, the documents that you said. So of course I'm going to be running through them. There are a lot, and I want to go through them one by one so that you can take note of them. So the first thing you need is your passport. So you're going out of the country, you need your passport.
Okay.
You need any other travel documentation. Maybe you've traveled to UK in the past. Any other documentation that you have, you can also include that. Now, let me talk about this aspect. If you've traveled to UK in the past, yes, and you've stayed for up to 12 months before you want to process your student visa, you do not need proof of funds for your study visa. So you should have stayed in UK for up to 12 months. Yes. So I just want to mention this before I proceed. So that is the only exception. You've stayed in UK for up to 12 months. Then that means you can use that as an exception.
So you don't need like 1 year.
Yes, you do not need proof of funds. That suffices as far as you can prove you are living in UK, you are paying your taxes, you are earning and all of that in UK for the past 12 months. You do not need proof of funds. Proof of funds is necessary when you've not necessarily lived in UK within the last 12 months. Yes, that's when it's necessary, because you need to know you'll be able to sustain yourself while you're schooling. Yes, so the first thing I said is a passport, valid travel documents. Then we have other things, like I mentioned earlier, the confirmation of acceptance for studies. Very important. Proof of parental consent if you are below 18 years old. This is very essential, and the UK government requires you to get parental consent, so you need parental consent. So the next one is proof of relationship with parents if under 18 years old. So if you are under 18 years old, you also have to prove your relationship. So this can be done with your birth certificate. It's very important. Then the next thing is valid ATAS certificate. So not everybody has this one, but if you do, it is an added advantage. So 8 years means academic tech approval scheme. Yes, so this only applies to those who have it. If you have it, good one. The other document has to do with tests. Before you complete the whole entire process, you have to have some medical checks. So we have the tuberculosis test results. Yes. If you are in Nigeria, you have to book with a recognized medical place. Then you go there, you run some tests. Recognized medical places in Nigeria. Yes. So after you do the tuberculosis test, the next thing is written consent for your application from your financial sponsor. So this is applicable if, of course, if the person is not sponsoring themselves. If someone is sponsoring you, it is very important that the person writes a written application acknowledging the fact that this is me, I'm so and so, I am sponsoring so and so person to study in the UK. Yes, it's very, very important. Something that we also have to know: English proficiency test. IELTS. It's very important.
So like the UK, it's like a key exam. You need to write it.
Yes, you need it. We in Nigerians, for now, it is applicable to us. There are some countries in the world that IELTS and it's not necessary at the moment. But for Nigeria, well, we need it. We need it to get admission there. So you need to have written your IELTS before you start processing your student visa. So that you will not run into any issue. Yes. Then if you are under 18 years old, your consent has to show certain things. Your consent, because you need consent from your parents. You have to prove your relationship with your parents. So your consent that you are going to get, the content of that consent is going to contain your living and care arrangement in the UK. You are below 18 years old. Who are you going to be staying with? How are you going to be surviving? You need to that consent letter for your parents has to contain that. Then also your travel to UK. Who is going to fund your travel to UK? How are you going to go? Are you going alone? Are you going with an adult? Are you going to be staying with a relative? So you also have to include this in your application. The consent, the place you're going to be talking about your consent for the parents, you need to include all of these details as well. Then you need to know that the application is 100% online. And yes, we are also here to guide you on the process as much as possible.
Yes, we are here. So there are some mistakes that people normally make as they're doing their visa processing. And the first one I want us to really trash out is, what do visa officers really check? What are they really checking?
One of the things that they check is your proof of funds. It's very, very essential. Your proof of funds should be 28 days within the 31 days of your visa application. So that
I'm going to apply for visa and I just carry 20 million my account yesterday. That cannot work, right?
No. It should be in your account at least 28 days. So take note, the word is at least. It can be more.
More, yeah. Okay.
Yes, it can be more. It's very important, and they're going to go through your document. Then another thing again that the agencies look at is your how are you going to survive in the UK? Who are you going to stay with? Because of course the visa laws are being tightened. Each time the laws are being tightened. So you need to prove that there is a way, there's a form of sustenance when you get there. There's a relative, or even if there's no relative for you to stay with, there is some form of accommodation for you. You've planned your accommodation. You have a skill. Maybe you have a skill that you're going to utilize to maybe make some money if allowed. Yes, so all those things are very important.
But for some people that don't have a place where they will stay or a relative abroad, but there's some universities that will organize a place for them to stay, like maybe accommodation, or they will stay with the family.
Yes.
Right. Is that true? Can you elaborate on that?
Okay. Yes, there are some schools that actually you. Yes. So the major thing is you have to prove all of this. You have to prove that there's somewhere you can stay in the country. You have somewhere, maybe you've paid for an accommodation, yes, or maybe you have a partial scholarship. You have to prove that you are staying somewhere. You have a relative, you have a family. The most important thing is that you have proved it in the documentation. Then also your documents also have to be in line with what is required. Like if you are below 18 years old and you don't get the consent or the necessary things that you need to get, the agent will look at it and they will not take it serious. So you have to comply with each requirement. And also, if it's a study visa, you have to apply at least nothing less than 6 months before your course starts. So let's say you want to apply for a course that is starting by September. At least by beginning of the year, you should have already started applying for it. You should have already started processing your student visa and all of that. You don't need to wait till when the course is starting, and let's say the course is starting September, you now want to start processing it in August. That doesn't work that way. So you have to keep to time and ensure that you start the process at when due. I'm
sorry to cut you off, but there is something that we spoke about before. How now students can actually apply and they can stay even after their graduation for 2 years, and after this year it's going to be less than 2 years. So can you elaborate on that?
Okay. Well, it has to do with the new laws in UK. Yes, like we spoke earlier on, the laws have been tightened. So back then you could stay up to 5 years if it's a degree. Back then you can stay up to 5 years. If it's not a degree, 2 years. But currently it's less than that. Yes, it's just a year and some months currently at the moment. So it's just for us to utilize it. The current law will apply till 31st December 2026.
So they still have like time if they want to stay, if they want to apply, so that they can stay that 2 years. Because after this December, it's now less than 2 years.
Yes, the thing now is that those who are should I say qualified to stay, they're already almost done with school already. So even if you apply right now, your graduation date will definitely fall after 31st December 2026. So that's the implication.
All right. So also I want to ask, how much do I need in my account, like if I'm going to apply for a visa? How much do I need for my school fees, my tuition, accommodation? How much do I need for my visa? How much is actually needed in my account if I want to pursue a visa in the UK?
Well, I will have to be honest that you'll be needing up to, first of all, there's the deposit. You have to pay the tuition deposit. It might not be the full tuition, but you have to pay a deposit. So that should be around £3,000. Yes, that is almost 5 million naira. Yes, and also you need proof of funds. If the school is in UK, like we discussed, if the school is in UK, it is £1,529, and then if it's outside UK, it is £1,171. So in total, that if you're calculating, so let's say approximately 5 million plus and let's assume it's in UK. So
Okay.
£1,529. That is approximately 2.9 million naira. So
Okay.
2.9 million naira plus 5
5
million
million.
naira. That is 7.9 million naira.
Okay.
Then plus the application fee.
Oh wow. Okay.
So let's round everything up to about 10 million naira.
All right.
Yeah.
So you've heard it. 10 million naira if you want to study
Yeah.
for like the main, not even
Just to start.
Just to start. Yeah.
Yes, just to start. But hopefully, once you start and you have a good, maybe you have a skill or something, and you are given a
Yeah.
specific hours of work, you can start working on campus and to cover your other tuition.
Yeah.
And if you are lucky that you get a scholarship, yeah, some people have partial scholarship, but
Yeah.
you can't get the full scholarship,
Yeah,
or you
it's
can
mainly
get
partial.
yes, mainly partial scholarship. So that can subsidize your expenses
Yeah.
and really help you.
Actually. Okay. So can someone sponsor me now if I'm going? Can someone sponsor me instead of me being the proof of funds?
Okay, yes, someone can sponsor you.
Okay.
Yes, someone can
But they will
sponsor
have
you.
to provide their own
Yes,
proof
they
of
have
funds.
to. Yes, they'll have to provide their own proof of funds and
All
yes,
right.
their bank statement, and they'll also have to write a should I say confirmation of our application. They have to write theirs.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
and provide, and they have to
Okay.
submit it in the application process as well.
Can I borrow money for my proof of funds?
Okay. No, that is not advisable. However, if you're struggling with proof of funds, just reach out and let us know, and then we can see
covered
how we
that for
can
you.
advise you. Yes.
Yeah. So can I study in the UK with only WAEC?
Yes, but you still need IELTS.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very
The English
essential.
test. Can I change course later if I apply for a course and I want to change it because I don't like the course anymore? Can I apply for a change of course?
Okay, yes, you can.
All
You
right.
can, but it comes with a fee.
Of course.
So whenever you're ready, good and fine, you can apply for a change of course, but it comes at a fee.
How long does a visa take? Like I want to get a visa. How long will I have in mind that this is how long it will take me before I have a visa?
Okay, if you are outside the country, it takes usually 3 to 5 weeks. If you are outside the UK, however, if you are within UK, it can take up to 8 weeks.
So that's one more within UK.
Yes.
Okay. What happens if I get rejected?
Okay, if you get rejected, then it means you have not really conformed with the application process.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's for you to go back to the drawing board and look at your application process.
Okay.
What did I do wrong? What did I do that I need to improve on? And yeah, we can help you with that, of course.
Okay.
If you need unique
We are here
special
for you.
guidance, we can always guide you and look at what you've done and help you improve.
You spoke about working while studying, so I just want to know, can I just get an admission and then start working immediately after I reach the UK?
Okay, this is a very, very
Sensitive.
yes, because it depends on the school. Okay. Yes, so I cannot give a straightforward yes, and I can't give a straightforward no. Each student visa carries its own unique, should I say, responsibilities or its requirements.
Yeah.
So if you have an agreement with the school and you can work, good and fine. Why there are some persons that are not allowed to work depending on the duration of your study. Yes, like if you apply for a student visa, a child student visa now, you may not be allowed to work since you are less than 18.
Actually, yeah.
But since you are less than 17, because child student visa is usually for people less than 17, but if you are above 17, you may be allowed to work. So it depends on what you came to the UK to study, how long that study will be for, and your type of visa.
All right. So I want to also ask on remote jobs. Okay, what if I have a remote job and I'm working remotely? Can I actually use that for my benefit if I'm going to the visa application and say, oh, I have a remote job, so I can use it to cover some costs and, for my proof of funds and stuff like that?
Yes, that's a beautiful idea. If you have a remote job in the UK, yes, you can go ahead. But the only issue is that it's very difficult to get a remote job when you are not in UK. So if you were lucky enough to get selected, because UK usually has a process that you have to have a you have to have like a permit to work in the UK, and it's based on that you'll be able to get a remote job. Yes, that's a requirement for getting a remote job. You should have a permit to work permit. So if you do not have that, or if you by maybe you've been in UK before and you got it and then you came back to Nigeria, then very good, you can go ahead and put that in.
Can I, if someone has a spouse now and they are married and they want to apply for a master's program or whatever program, can they bring their spouse along?
Yes. However, like we spoke at the beginning of this conversation, if you are coming with a dependent, it depends on your type of visa. So currently, skilled workers are not allowed to bring in dependents anymore. Skilled workers that are on sponsorship, yes, in the UK, they are not allowed to bring in dependents anymore. That's in line with the new UK laws. However, you can still apply. You can still apply if you have a partner, if you have a spouse. You can still apply for the visa. Yes, the visa, you apply for that, and yeah, you can move on.
The issue of agents and people thinking, since everything's online, they're like, they don't need an agent. What does an agent really do? So can you just throw light on how using an agent and not using an agent, what are the benefits and what are the disadvantages?
Okay, so now the beautiful thing about using an agent is that they will guide you on the things that you need to know. So what I'm saying at the moment right now, not everybody knows it. So we are even sharing a lot that people don't know. So, and there is even more that we can't even discuss right now because there is a lot of things. It's a tedious process you have to be ready for. So you need someone who already knows the process to guide you. If you want to do it on your own, you might end up getting your application denied. So it's very important to have someone to guide you through the process, tell you, look at your consent forms, look at your tests, look at your IELTS, tell you, okay, this is what is required, this is what you need, this is the duration of period you need to do this. It's very, very essential, and I can't emphasize it enough. You need that assistance and guidance.
So you've heard it from our barrister, you need an agent and you need an assistant. If you are serious about going to the UK, we are here for you. That's what we do here at TTS Consult. Miss Hadiza, thank you very much for all the beautiful knowledge and insights you've shared with us today. We have been so much enlightened by the little conversation we've had. So anybody who has questions that you think we missed and we didn't answer, you can just drop them in comments and we'll answer them all. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more.